Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back on our Fortnite video. In today's video, I'm gonna give you guys some tips and tricks on how to kill multiple enemies here in Fortnite. And so for the gameplay I have in the background, I have a little bit of an OG gameplay back when the game was really good, HP and mats and all that kind of good stuff, because this is one of my good gameplays where I actually dropped over 20 kills. My recent ones I've only been having like 12 or 13 kills, because that's been a lot better for me and a lot more fun to play the game, landing somewhere where I can actually get a few mats, get a few loot, and then finally go for a push on players. So that's why I'm using the gameplay that I'm using, and it also, I think this gameplay is a lot more fun to use than the other ones that I have. And before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. I'm going to be giving away some V-Bucks at 130,000 subscribers. So if you guys want a chance to win some V-Bucks, all you have to do is to drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, turn on my notifications, and as well leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And like I said, as soon as I reach 130,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away some V-Bucks, so make sure you guys enter the giveaway. And as well, if you guys want to add me and support me as a creator in the item shop, all you have to do is go over to the item shop, go down to support a creator, type in my code is Young Humor, and you guys will have me added and supported as a creator. I really do appreciate everyone who does. And alright guys, let's get to the video. Alright, so it's honestly kind of crazy. I feel like it's been such a long time since stretch was in the game, even though they only took it out maybe like a week ago. The game honestly looks so different in between playing on native res than playing on a stretch. Even though my stretch is only on a 1600, it really wasn't even that much of a stretch, but still a very noticeable difference for me. And so for this gameplay, like I said, I think I ended up dropping about 21 kills in this game, and which is a whole lot more fun than honestly the way it is in Fortnite right now, because I've gotten 21 kills, even though the game is a little bit less time. And honestly, I like it better because I can go through the games a lot quicker. The game is quicker, and as well, I dropped a lot more kills. But even though I'm using a different gameplay, everything in this video that I'm talking about still definitely applies to the current state of Fortnite that we have right now. So when it comes to actually going against multiple enemies, there's a lot of things that you have to keep in mind when going into each fight, and just a few things that you really have to take more advantage of now than you have previously. Because honestly, when there was HP and mats and all that kind of stuff, you were able to play a little bit more reckless than you are now, because you can afford to take a little bit of damage, and even if you got hit by a trap, more than likely you're going to have more than enough minis in your inventory, plus you're going to gain an extra 50 HP per kill, so you're guaranteed to have 150 HP after that fight if you got hit by a trap when you were at 200. And so with that in mind, you have to make sure when you're going into each gunfight that you always want to put yourself in the best advantage possible. And even more now, just making sure that you have high ground even before you engage in the fight is even more important, because you want to try to minimize the amount of damage that you're going to be taking going into that gunfight. And honestly, this is really important for a lot of reasons, just because like I said, you have to be more careful now, because you're more than likely, especially in the early game, maybe in the late game you might be in a better spot, but you're not going to have as many heals, and you're not going to have as many mats as you previously had. So you have to be careful about challenging gunfights, and when you challenge, and exactly where you challenge, because when you have the least amount of materials, or you have less materials, you don't want to challenge too early, because if they're already focused on you on top of a hill, or maybe they're in the distance a little bit and they just see you, and if they're just going to keep spraying at you time and time again, it's going to be very difficult to get any sort of kill on those players or any sort of damage taken without burning through your entire mats. Because like I said, if those players are just on top of the hill spraying at you because you challenged too early, you're going to be running through mats even quicker. So I think it's really important, or really a good piece of advice you can have, is you always want to try to challenge players as closely as you can. You don't want to try to engage them too early, especially if they're on top of a hill, because if we're being honest, more than likely the players that you're running into that are sitting on top of hills are going to be absolute bots, and they're just going to be sitting on top of the hill spraying at you, and I guarantee you they're not going to jump down, they're not going to try to go for any sort of challenge, they're just going to spam you with AR until you're completely out of mats. So what you want to do instead is, even before you even challenge, or pretty much before they even know where you are, that is the perfect time where you can try to go for high ground on them, or just try to make any sort of move that you can, maybe not even engage in, maybe use a launch pad to get up there, because that is going to be the time that you want to make a play, not after they see you on top of the hill, because I guarantee you, like I said, you're going to be burning through mats super quick, and more than likely you're not going to have any mats whatsoever. And so another tip I can give you guys is when you're going to challenge multiple players, you're gonna have to be quicker than you once were, because as you see in this gameplay, what I'm doing, it's a very good tip, or not a very good tip, a very good strategy is I'm boxing in with steel and I'm waiting for them to try to make a play on me, and then once they go for a play on me, I can take that advantage to try to go for a shot like I did right there. But this was before the patch, and you're not going to have as many mats as I do right here. So with that being said, you can go for the same sort of play, but if you want to go for it, you're not going to have steel. That's just one thing, you're not going to have a lot of steel at all. It's probably going to be out of wood, and when you're going for a play like that, you can honestly still do it, but you have to be so much more quick with it. You can't wait 2 or 3 boxes, because that's going to be burning through 150 materials. So if you want to go for a play like that, like I said, you can, but you have to be so much quicker with it, because if you don't, you're going to get screwed over game after game, just because you're not going to have any more mats left after you get shot at like 2 or 3 times. So when you're challenging teams, you definitely have to be a lot quicker than you have before, just because you're not going to have as many mats, and most of the people you're running into are just spammers. They're going to spam you with whatever they have, but I'm glad they made an update where RPGs aren't as common, so people aren't just spamming them time after time again, unless you run into that one team who picks up every single drop, and those are usually the teams with max materials who landed Lonely Lodge. And back to what I said earlier, one of my tips from earlier is you want to try to engage people when you're close, going for that chip damage or going for those shots from a little bit longer ranges. It might not be the best option for a few reasons. From time to time, it could be a really good option, but if you're going for that chip damage, you want to be as close as you can, and here's the reason for it. And so this is really important if you want to have shield after fights, because if you always try to go for that chip damage, what's going to happen every single time, it's super annoying, is a lot of times you're going to be trading shots. Maybe you get tags on them, they get tags on you, but even if you just get tags on them, if they have any sort of shield at all, they're going to be popping it immediately afterwards, meaning that if you constantly go for the chip damage shot without putting any more pressure, so if you challenge from the longer ranges, just knocking their shield time and time again, all that means is after that fight, you're going to have no shield whatsoever, because they're going to have used it all by the time the gunfight's over, which is super annoying. So if you want to go for the damage and you're closer to the other player, meaning that if you're pretty close to them and you start going for the damage and you put a lot of pressure on them, most of the time they're not going to have enough time to get off any sort of heals, meaning that after the gunfight, after you kill them or get away with them, then you're going to have their shield, which means you're going to have shield after that fight. Because if you're constantly never having shield after every single gunfight that you get into, one of the best things you can do is just try to challenge a little bit sooner, challenge a little bit closer, so that pretty much they have no time to pop any sort of heals. Because a lot of times I've had some problem that I've had a ton is just going through a ton of players and ending up with no mats, ending up with no HP, and just different things like that. So there's definitely a few things that you can do to help you get the best chances of having the most materials, and as well having the most HP after every fight. And that also goes along with challenging players quickly and getting through with them fast, because the faster you go through players, the more mats that they're going to drop. Because if you take forever in a gunfight, and this is true every single time, the longer you take in a gunfight, the more materials they're going to run through, and a lot of players aren't going to have a ton of materials to start with. So if you're waiting too long in the gunfight after you get through that team, then the next team you're running into, you're going to have no materials if you don't farm up for another 5 minutes to try to get your mats back up to like 500 or 600. And the reason why I'm talking about materials so much in this game is honestly, to be completely honest with you guys, I'm not even gonna lie, not having enough materials is probably one of the #1 things I've died to since after the update. It's not even having enough HP. The only times I die with no HP are in the early game, because after that, I'm challenging players quickly, I'm grabbing all of their heals or whatnot, and most of the time I'm going to be running around with 125 or 150 HP. It's just mats is a huge problem. I'm running around with 300, maybe even 400 mats if I'm lucky. Usually it's more like 250 to 300, but I just feel like if I have materials, if I kill that one person that lands Lonely Lodge and I have a lot of materials, I can win just about every single gunfight I go into, no matter who I play against. Because like I said, the one thing that I feel like I die to the most is going to be lack of materials, or not just having enough materials, but at the same time farming up for 5 or 6 minutes is super boring and not something I want to do. And I also made a really good video just a few days ago. I'd highly recommend watching. I'll put it at the top right of my screen, or maybe the top left, I don't know where it's going to appear, but it's a really good video. I talk about how to conserve your materials, so when you're going into them late or even mid-game situations, you're going to have enough materials to win that fight. Because if you have more materials than the other player, I guarantee you're going to have a really good chance of winning that fight. And with that being said, I'm gonna let the rest of the gameplay play out, but thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, drop a like in this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on my notifications to be notified for every single new video, and alright guys, I'll see you next video.